Welcome back to another Wheel Wednesday, where I spin this wheel and get a prompt and then do the prompt in art to mostly my own discretion / interpretation of the prompt. Today's prompt was from Dark Fate on DeviantArt, which was, as will be seen here in a moment, as you can see, Dark Fate has given many prompts, but the one that was chosen was alien starfish. And I took this as starfish, literally like the animal, even though it is star-fish here, which kind of implies something a little different than, you know, the actual starfish on Earth. But that's kind of what I stuck to. And not a typical one, not a 5-limbed one. I went with the deep sea ones with many limbs. As you can see from this not having 5 limbs. Real intuitive stuff there. I also tried to make it more interesting, in air quotes, but by doing that I just kind of put this beak on it as if it was a squid, which maybe not smart, because now it kind of just made it look like a squid, but I'm saying it's a starfish, so yeah. Just assume there's nothing, no squid body on top of this. It's just starfish with beak that is going through space. Which right now it is just a void, but that's what I took the alien part as. It going through space. And most of this, I think, is just texturing the starfishy tentacle / arm bits. And then at the very end, I make it actually space. So I got like nothing to yap about probably for however the 8 minutes. Good job, me. So I went with quite a few colors, at least compared to what I normally use. Like the beak is the same color as the background, and then I use this really bright, almost white blue. But then the body is composed of that, you know, background color. There's an orange, there's a red that is a similar saturation to the orange, there's a really dark, kind of desaturated purpley color. There ends up being a pretty bright, okay, bright is relative here, but there's a pink color that is brighter than the rest of the body. And then I end up using an even lighter pink just for highlights, and then on top of that eventually I use the same light blue that I used on the beak to do even highlightier highlights on the pink fleshy bits, but I'm pretty sure that's also near the end, at least for the super bright highlights. I also tried to give the starfish more of a quote-unquote face, and by face I mean eyeballs underneath, so it wouldn't be squid-like. And I'm pretty sure I don't add the eyes until the end too. So right now there's just these little blue hole things on some of the arms, which, you know, that's another minus point for starfish, because I'm pretty sure they don't tend to have eyeballs. But I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure. So, you know, beak and eyes. Both squid things and not starfish things. But this is space starfish, so I can do what I want. Because, as we all know, space starfish probably aren't real. At least not this kind. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of out of stuff to yap about already. I'm a big fan of faking it until I make it for 10 minutes. Because, like, this is the only time I do a voiceover in the week. So, I'm gonna suck it up and keep yapping. To the best of my ability, at least. Something about my thought process. So going further away from the beak, I was doing more of the fleshy pinks, and I was trying to make it seem more like the legs, arms, tentacles, tendrils, whatever you want to call them, were growing out. And I was doing that with, kind of hard to tell, but some of the, I guess, patterning of how the flesh is layered, where it is more going around at the base and then it goes along with the tentacle the further out it goes. This is a weird way of describing it. I hope it makes sense. Where close to the body, it is going around in rings, and then further out, it is just going along with the tentacle. I don't know how else to describe it. Here's that brighter pink that I was talking about before adding the light blue to it. Yep. I also, probably around here, during the process of making it, thought to make it eat a planet eventually. And I eventually do that. Just gotta trust me. I mean, right now I'm just trying to do more detailing with a dark red to do shadows, add more texture. Alright, here's where I'm adding that same light blue that I did on the beak as highlights on the fleshy bits. Just a whole lot of tiny details that, I mean, I probably didn't need to go that far into it, but I did. I also didn't really think of the actual light source of this, other than from the front. And kind of above, but I mean, it's in space, so I'm not sure exactly how well that translates. Slash, how well that would actually be done, at least in a real context. Because I don't see very many giant space starfish thingies in space, so I don't really know how to light them properly. And then as I'm adding the planet here, I lit it as if it was being lit from behind the starfish thing, which I tried to make more sense by doing the lights, or not lights, but glowing eyes of the starfish. But yeah, I mean, you'll see it. I don't think it would make that bright of a light, but you know, it's what I did. I also tried to add an atmosphere, sort of, this is just with a airbrush on overlay to do a little tiny light rim around the planet. Little hint of atmosphere. And then I also tried to make it look like it's getting sucked up into the beak, but that is very faint. And now here, I'm finally adding the space part of the background. Just trying to fill where the tentacles, arms, legs, whatever you want to call them, don't cover with stars. Eventually I add more color with color dodge airbrush, doing like blues and reds and oranges and greens. Just because blue and white as the background is a little boring, especially for space. Here I'm finally adding those glowing eyeballs I kept alluding to. Which, yeah, they're not exactly bright enough to, you know, light a planet like that, but whatever. It's fantasy. Space fantasy, yeah. I also added little orange dots in the background in a similar pattern to that of the eyeballs on the starfish. So you can take that as you will. And now I'm adding a ring, because rings on planets are cool. Anyway, that's my very great and very cool thought process. Thank you for watching and listening, and Hope to see you next Wednesday, probably, when I do another voiceover. Goodbye, bye, 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 bye.